Leave the cold outside and cast your prejudices aside at the door. Draw near to the fire. In the wizarding world, some are born heroes and some choose to be, others are moulded into pure evil. But the man we speak of today was neither a hero nor a villain. He was a child poisoned inside a golden cage, stripped of his choice, and crushed under the weight of his own pride, Draco Malfoy. For years we were shown a selfish, cowardly, pure-blood-obsessed bully who terrorized the halls of Hogwarts. He was painted as the perfect brat to Harry Potter's perfect goodness. Yet, beneath that arrogant sneer lay a fractured soul, desperately clawing for his father's love, trembling with terror and shoved into the darkness against his own will. Today, we uncover the truth behind the platinum blonde hair and the black suits. From a wealthy heir to a father with a shattered spirit, we are casting Draco Malfoy's entire life into the fire. June 5th, 1980. The sole heir to one of the wizarding world's oldest, wealthiest, and darkest families was born. His father, Lucius Malfoy, was a secret Death Eater. His mother, Narcissa, was a proud woman from the legendary Black lineage. Draco wasn't raised with love, but with a complex of superiority, the first lesson he learned in the cold. Cavernous halls of Malfoy Manor was that the most precious blood in the world flowed through his own veins. Muggles, half-bloods, and those who pitied them were nothing but insects. His father's authority in the house was absolute. Lucius loved Draco, yes, but he saw him not as an individual, but as a perfect copy of the Malfoy name. Draco had to win his father's approval, walk like him, and speak like him. His admiration for his father was actually intertwined with an inner, deep-seated fear. Before Hogwarts, he heard the Harry Potter legend often from his father. Lucius believed this boy who defeated the Dark Lord might be a secret dark wizard. When Draco extended his hand to Harry in Diagon Alley and on the Hogwarts Express, he was simply trying to find that great ally who would win him his father's praise. But when Harry rejected that hand, that rejection shattered Draco's entire world, because a Malfoy was never rejected. That day, the seeds of the toxic rivalry, resentment, and envy that would last 6 years at Hogwarts were sown. His first 5 years at Hogwarts are the anatomy of a classic bully. The Prince of Slytherin, the favourite of Severus Snape, getting onto the Quidditch team with brooms bought by his father, vomiting that vile racism by calling Hermione a mudblood, and getting Buckbeak sentenced to death just because his own pride was stung. All of this, from the outside, is repulsive, but psychologically, it is the struggle of a child blindly mimicking his father's ideology. Draco tries to crush Harry every time, but every time he is overshadowed by him. Harry is the hero. Harry is the chosen one. Harry is gifted. Draco is just the rich man's son. At the end of his 5th year, during the great battle at the Department of Mysteries, everything turned upside down. His father, Lucius Malfoy, blew the Dark Lord's most important mission. The prophecy was shattered, the Death Eaters were captured, and Lucius was sent to Azkaban, destroying the glorious Malfoy name. That summer was the moment Draco's childhood ended. The spoiled boy died, and a pawn trembling with fear was born. Voldemort would take his revenge for Lucius's failure out on his 16-year-old son. 6th year. The era of the Half-Blood Prince. The Dark Lord branded the dark mark into Draco's arm, and he gave him an impossible task: kill Albus Dumbledore. Voldemort never believed Draco could succeed. This wasn't a mission, it was a death warrant. Draco would fail, Dumbledore would kill him. Or he would fall to Dumbledore, and thus Lucius would suffer the greatest agony in prison. Draco thought it was an honor at first. He would clear his family's name. But as the days passed, the terrible weight crushed his shoulders. He tried to poison Dumbledore. Ron nearly died. He sent the cursed necklace. Katie Bell nearly died. With every move, Draco was hurting people but failing to reach his true goal. He couldn't bear to look at himself in the mirror. His eyes turned dark. He grew ill. He withered away. And that iconic scene we all know. Draco Malfoy in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom, clutching the cold sink, sobbing uncontrollably. I can't do it. If I don't, he'll kill me. He'll kill my whole family. That bully was gone, replaced by a desperate child forced to commit murder to save his family. And the astronomy tower, when Draco cornered Dumbledore, his wand was trembling. Dumbledore, that wise man, didn't see the darkness inside Draco, but his desperation. You are not a killer, Draco. Draco lowered his wand. In front of the Death Eaters, for the first time in his life, he chose to betray the dark side. He couldn't go through with the murder. 7th year. Malfoy Manor was now Voldemort's headquarters. The home Draco was so proud of, where he felt safe, had turned into a torture chamber. In his own living room, he watched his former teacher, Charity Burbage, be murdered and fed to Nagini. Fighting the urge to vomit. He felt in the marrow of his bones, in the middle of that room, how vile, how bloody, and how sickly a thing pure blood supremacy and Voldemort's ideology were. His family was shattered. His father had turned into a slave. When Harry, Ron, and Hermione were held captive at Malfoy Manor, Draco was asked to identify Harry. If Draco had said, "Yes, that's Harry," Voldemort would have arrived instantly, and the war would have ended. But Draco looked at Harry's swollen face and whispered, "I'm not sure. I don't know." This wasn't just a moment of hesitation. It was the greatest resistance Draco Malfoy ever put up against the darkness. When the Battle of Hogwarts broke out, Draco wasn't there to fight. He was there only to survive and find his family. When he was trapped in the room of requirement amidst the fun fire, that boy he had tormented for years, Harry Potter, turned back and pulled him out of the flames. At the end of the war, as Narcissa Malfoy checked to see if Harry was alive, she lied to Voldemort. Why? Only because she heard Draco was still alive in the castle. When the war ended, the Malfoy family was not among those celebrating in the Great Hall. Silently, defeated, broken, but alive, they walked out of that castle. So, what happened after the war? Draco Malfoy narrowly escaped Azkaban with his family. Harry Potter's testimony at the Ministry and Draco's refusal to kill Dumbledore saved them from the gallows. But nothing was the same for Draco. He was a changed man who had seen, with his own eyes, how destructive dark ideologies were. He completely rejected his father Secunda's sickly pure blood beliefs. He fell in love with a woman who came from an old, rooted family like his own, but rejected pure blood bigotry just like he did Astoria Greengrass. Lucius and Narcissa hated their daughter-in-law's tolerant attitude toward muggles. But for the first time, Draco stood up to his father. Without caring for his family's approval, he married Astoria, a Hedescas Malfoy. Draco didn't make the mistake his father made with him. He raised Scorpius with love, free of any prejudice against muggles and half-bloods. With a heart far from darkness, a pure heart. Yet, tragedy did not let go of the Malfoy name. Astoria's blood carried a horrific curse from her ancestors' blood malediction. Astoria grew weaker day by day and passed away in 2019. Draco Malfoy lost the greatest love of his life, the woman who pulled him out of that dark well. He dedicated the rest of his life to protecting his only treasure, his son, and striving for him to be a good man. That arrogant boy had died. In his place came a widower father paying the price for his mistakes. Suffering, but with a heart completely cleansed of darkness. Draco Malfoy was not a hero. He made massive mistakes. He hurt many people, but he was never a murderer. He was just a victim born into the wrong house, shoved into the darkness and able to find his own truth once he was broken. That is all for tonight. We have seen how a dark past can hold one's future hostage. Now, raise your mugs not just for the heroes, but for those who made mistakes, those who fell, and those who rose again to reject the darkness. Hide from the shadows and keep your wand close. Safe travels